Knights Templar are remembered as holy warriors bound by faith, honor, and sacrifice. Their white mantles and red crosses have become symbols of chivalry, crusade, and devotion. For centuries, their story has been wrapped in legend, hidden treasures, secret rituals, forbidden knowledge, and a power that rivaled kings. But legends are rarely born without blood. Behind the romantic image of the Templars lies a darker, more uncomfortable truth. Their rise was shaped by war, fanaticism, and ambition, and their fall ended in betrayal, fire, and a curse that still echoes through history. At the center of this final chapter stands one man, Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Order of the Knights Templar. His execution in 1314 marked not only the end of an order that once dominated medieval Europe, but also the beginning of one of history's most unsettling mysteries. As flames consumed his body, Molay is said to have spoken words that would seal the fate of those responsible for his death. Within a year, both the Pope and the King of France were dead. Soon after, a royal dynasty that had ruled for centuries collapsed. Coincidence, divine justice, or something far more disturbing? To understand how this moment came to pass, we must go back to a time when faith ruled absolutely, when obedience meant survival, and when men were willing to kill and die for God. And so, our story begins not with Molay himself, but with the brutal world that gave birth to the Knights Templar. The medieval world was a place of extremes. Faith was not a private matter. It was law, identity, and destiny. To question God was to question existence itself. Kings ruled by divine right. Popes spoke with the authority of heaven, and war was not only accepted, it was sanctified. In the late 11th century, Europe turned its eyes toward the Middle East. Jerusalem, the birthplace of Jesus Christ, had fallen under Muslim control. To medieval Christians, this was not merely a political loss, it was a spiritual wound. The response was swift and merciless. In 1095, Pope Urban II called for the First Crusade. His message was simple: take up arms in the name of God, reclaim the Holy Land, and your sins would be forgiven. Thousands answered the call. Knights, peasants, nobles all marched eastward in a wave of religious zeal. The Crusades were savage. Cities were besieged, populations slaughtered, and blood spilled without restraint. Faith justified everything. It was in this environment that new kinds of warriors emerged, men who were neither fully monks nor fully soldiers, but something far more dangerous: holy fighters. They prayed like monks. They fought like knights, and they believed they were chosen. As the Crusader state struggled to survive in hostile territory, pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem were frequently attacked, robbed, or killed. The roads were unsafe. Protection was needed. Out of this chaos, a small brotherhood would be formed, one that would eventually become the most powerful military and financial organization in medieval Europe. An order that began in poverty, devotion, and secrecy. An order that would one day stand accused of heresy, corruption, and devil worship. And an order whose final leader would die screaming in the fire. In the year 199, during the Council of Troyes, the Catholic Church officially recognized a new military order: the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, soon known simply as the Knights Templar. Founded by Judeans, the order's original purpose was clear: protect Christian pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem. The name Temple came from their headquarters, believed to stand on the ruins of the ancient Temple of Solomon. The Templars took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They owned nothing individually. Everything belonged to the order. Their lives were governed by strict rules: silence, discipline, prayer, and readiness for battle. Their symbol was unmistakable: a white mantle signifying purity, marked with a red cross symbolizing martyrdom. But what made the Templars truly unique was their structure. They answered to no king. They answered only to the Pope. This gave them extraordinary independence. They could move freely across borders, establish fortresses, and operate without interference from local rulers. As the Crusades continued, the Templars became elite shock troops. They were feared by enemies and revered by allies. On the battlefield, they were relentless. Retreat was forbidden. Surrender was shameful. Death was preferable. Their reputation grew, and so did their numbers. Donations poured in from nobles and kings seeking spiritual favor. Lands, castles, and gold were gifted to the order. Over time, the Templars developed an advanced system of finance, allowing pilgrims and nobles to deposit money in one location and withdraw it elsewhere. In effect, the Knights Templar created early international banking. With wealth came power. With power came envy. By the late 13th century, the Templars were no longer just warriors. They were bankers, landowners, and political players. Their influence rivaled that of monarchs. And in medieval Europe, that was a dangerous position to occupy. The wealth of the Knights Templar became legendary. Their fortresses dominated strategic locations. Their treasuries funded wars. Their loans kept kingdoms afloat. Kings borrowed from them. Popes relied on them. Nobles feared them. Yet the Templars themselves remained bound by vows of poverty, at least officially. Individually, they owned nothing. Collectively, they controlled enormous resources. This contradiction bred suspicion. Whispers began to spread. How could men sworn to poverty wield such wealth? What secrets lay behind their closed doors? Why did they answer to no earthly ruler? Rumors flourished, secret rituals, hidden idols, forbidden knowledge brought back from the East. Most were baseless, but in a world driven by fear and faith, rumors were powerful weapons. At the same time, the Crusader states were collapsing. One by one, Christian strongholds in the Holy Land fell to Muslim forces, particularly the Mamluks, disciplined, highly trained warriors who would prove unstoppable. The Templars fought fiercely, but even they could not hold back the tide. And then came the catastrophe that changed everything. Jacques de Molay was born around 1240 in the region of Burgundy, then part of the Holy Roman Empire. He came from minor nobility, not wealth or prominence. His early life remains largely unknown, lost to history. In 2065, Molay joined the Knights Templar. He underwent their secret initiation and committed himself fully to the order. He was disciplined, loyal, and deeply devoted to the Templar cause. For decades, he served quietly, fighting in the East as the Crusader states weakened. Unlike many leaders of his time, Molay was not known for ambition or intrigue. He was a soldier and a believer, and that would be his greatest weakness. In 1291, the city of Acre, the last major Christian stronghold in the Holy Land, came under siege. The Mamluk Sultan al-Ashraf Khalil led a massive army against the city. Siege engines battered the walls. Miners tunneled beneath defenses. The Templars fought with desperation, launching night attacks and using Greek fire. But it was not enough. On May 18th, the walls were breached. The city fell into chaos. Streets ran with blood. Civilians were slaughtered. Acre burned. Jacques de Molay survived, but everything he had fought for was lost. The Crusades were over. After Acre's fall, the Templars retreated to Cyprus. The order was leaderless, wounded, and directionless. In 1292, after the death of Grand Master Thibaud Gaudin, Jacques de Molay was elected as the last Grand Master. He inherited a dying order. Molay spent years traveling Europe, pleading for a new crusade. He met popes and kings. He sought alliances, even attempting cooperation with the Mongols. But Europe had changed. Kings were tired of crusades. Faith was no longer enough. Support never came. One king, however, depended heavily on the Templars, Philip V of France. Philip was deeply in debt. Wars had drained his treasury. The Templars financed his campaigns. But debts create resentment. Rather than repay what he owed, Philip devised a solution that would erase his obligations entirely, destroy the creditor. On Friday, October 13, 307, Templars across France were arrested simultaneously. They were accused of heresy, blasphemy, and devil worship. Torture followed. Confessions were extracted. The order was shattered. Jacques de Molay spent 7 years imprisoned. He confessed under torture. He retracted his confession. He was condemned. There would be no mercy. On March 18, 1314, Jacques de Molay was burned alive in Paris. As the flames rose, he spoke. He summoned the Pope and the King to face God within a year. Pope Clement V died weeks later. King Philip IV died that same year. The Capetian dynasty collapsed. History recorded it. The Templars vanished. Their treasure was never found. Their legacy became legend. Was it a coincidence? Or a curse fulfilled? Only history remains silent.